Today I'm making a Woodland Winter Snowman rustic wreath. It is by far my favorite wreath that I have created for myself, and it is part of the Winter Wreathathon hosted by DIY with Nadia. She brings a few YouTubers together. There will be a playlist link in the description box below because you will be inspired by these amazing wreath makers. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Let me show you what I did to create this winter woodland wreath. This is a 16 by 24 inch grapevine oval wreath form. Now I got this one from Hobby Lobby. The Snowman is one that I picked up from Micheals several years ago. It is just totally my style, and I just could not wait to do something with it, but I was saving it for the right project. It is already kind of farmhouse chippy looking like this. I got it, like I said, over at Micheals a few years ago. And so what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm just trying to figure out where I want it to sit on my grapevine, and then I'm going to drill I'm actually going to do 3 holes in it. I do 2 first. Then once I wired on the Snowman to my grapevine, just using some thin wire that I also got from Micheals. Once I got those 2 wires on there, then I realized that I really wanted to put the extra stability of a 3rd hole at the bottom, and just using some of that wire, that's what I did. And just used my electric drill to drill those holes. For the beautiful greenery, I'm just using some from Hobby Lobby as well as Joann Fabrics. I love their greenery, especially this year. They're very pine. I love their pine. It's just so pretty. This one right there is from Hobby Lobby. And so what I'm using here is my stem cutter. Now I got this over at Deco Exchange. I have I get several questions about that every time I use that. This just allows me to put my weight on it, and so that it cuts the wires. I also like to use my handheld pliers or wire cutters as well, but I will have a link for the stem cutter in the description box if that is something that you like. You don't have to have that. It's just, it really helps with cutting some of those really stubborn wires and really helps us as wreath makers cut some of those wires. All right, so then what I'm doing here is I have this pine, and I am just figuring out how I want to put it in. Now I'm leaving that bottom open because that is where my bow goes. And so I love this, I call it wispy pine. It's just a very, very airy looking, and so I just kind of cut pieces of that apart. Now this one right here I decided not to use because it was a different color, and so I didn't use it in my project here, but one definitely could, depending on what colors. I love all the different textures and colors and all of the different types of greenery that we have. And so what I do is I try to make as least amount of cuts possible when I'm working with a grapevine, because the grapevine is actually natural, and so each grapevine is different. No 2 grapevines are going to be the same. And so this one right here had a pretty good space, but yet it was together enough so that I felt comfortable in sticking my pieces of greenery in there. So I'll just continue to do that, and just using my Sure Bonder glue pot, just some melted glue in there. The glue that I use is Gorilla Hot Glue. I just melt that in there. These frosty woodland looking branches are from Hobby Lobby in the Christmas section. This is actually what kind of sparked my, I think I'm going to do a woodland snowman wreath. And so I love these. I picked these up over at Hobby Lobby. So now what I'm doing, I'm keeping them all together. Like I mentioned, when I'm doing a grapevine, I try to do as least amount of cuts as possible. And so sometimes the picks or whatever I'm using kind of fall apart, just like that crystal looking bead one did, but that's okay. I just kind of wired it back together and just stuck it in there, you know, secured it with some binding wire so that it would give me the extra stability or extra security that I wanted to make sure that it was not going to fall off. So I just stick those in, and guys, I am going to be putting a bow there at the bottom, and so that's why I'm leaving that part like that. And so I try to make it even more on each side so that it looks really, really nice and very professionally looking, you know, for my wreath. So right here, this is where I am adding a few pieces of the binding wire to some of the branches because I wanted to make sure that they would be secure in there. Even though this wreath is going to be under a covered patio, still being outside, it may be exposed to some of the weather elements, the wind, that kind of thing. And I don't want my branches to fall off or blow away. I'm going to work on my bow, and I wanted to use this olive green gingham ribbon that I got from Craft Outlet. It's 2.5 inches, and what I'm doing here is I'm just taking my little mini heat press and I am pressing out the ribbon because I had put some rubber bands around some of my rolls of ribbon, and sometimes it kind of crinkles them and then they don't look very nicely. They don't lay very nicely, and so I'm just using my little heat press as an iron just to iron that out so that it looks really nice. And so then now I'm going to use my easy bow maker. Now I did get this over at Deco Exchange as well, and so it is my favorite way to make bows like this because sometimes I can't hold all of the ribbon in my hand, so that the easy bow maker really helps me with that. So this ribbon right here is I only had a little bit of it, and that is really what I wanted to have on the top. And so what I'm showing you here is this one right here is from Hobby Lobby. It has some greenery in the berries, but doesn't have the pine cones on it like I want it to have. I don't know where I got that burlap with the pine cones, but anyway, I'm gonna make it work and use that for my top bow. All right, so this 4-inch ribbon is one that I got from Walmart. It's very, very thick. It is a burlap ribbon. So what I'm doing is I am making about a 10-inch tail. I scrunch it together in the middle, and then I use the Easy Bow Maker has these 2 dowels on it, and they kind of act like fingers. So then I just pinch it in the middle, and I'm making a 6-inch loop on each side, and I just make sure that my loops they are actually both the same, and so they're about 6 inches. So then I scrunch it in the middle, and then I'm just going to leave my tails like that, and then I'll move on to the next loop. Now what I decided to do is I wanted 2 more of those 4-inch burlap loops, and so what I did is I just made an oval, scrunched it in the middle. I did use my little tiny attacher, my little stapler that I like to use for my bow making. I just secure that a little bit and then scrunch that in the middle and then put that on top, kind of positioning one loop one way and one loop the other way. Then I have this 2.5-inch frayed burlap ribbon that is from Hobby Lobby, and I just put just made some loops on it. They're probably about 4-inch loops. I really didn't measure. I just cut off those tails. Then I like layered bows, and using this Easy Bow Maker is just really a help for me when I'm making my bows. And so then I have that olive green and gingham ribbon, and so I'm going to measure out probably about a 10-inch tail because that gives me a little bit of leeway. If I want to cut off some of that, I dovetail that. And so then what I'm doing, guys, is I just twist it. I make sure that the right side of my ribbon is on top. That is the key to when you twist it. A lot of people say, I don't know how to use an Easy Bow Maker. I don't know how to make a bow. You always want to make sure that when you twist it in the middle, that the right side of your ribbon is on top. And so then I just make 6 loops, 3 on each side, and get them more even so that the bow looks really nice and very cohesive when it's put on my wreath. So this burlap with the pine cones and the greeneries and the berries is really what I wanted to use for this entire wreath, but I only had a small amount of it left. And so I really need to figure out where I got this from. It's probably their craft outlet or maybe, one of those online shops. I don't think I got this from Hobby Lobby, just it's a little bit thicker than the usual ribbons, but who knows? There's so many ribbons, so many different companies and that kind of thing. So first I had put the top bow on there. Was just kind of guesstimating how much tail I was going to have. So then I just repositioned it and made sure my loops were as even as I could get them, and I was being very creative in figuring out how I could get the most bang for my buck kind of thing with this top bow, because I really wanted this to be my top ribbon. So it's just an encouragement to say don't give up and just use little pieces what you have to make your creations look really nice and festive. All right, so then once I got my bow the way that I want, I am taking 2 pipe cleaners, twisting them together to make a longer pipe cleaner. So then I go around and then just carefully trying to hold all the layers together. Then I pull it up and twist it in the back. I turn it over, give it a really, really, really good twist, and so that I can get a really nice hold for my bow. A lot of people use zip ties, they use jute, they use wire, whatever works for you. As a wreath maker, that is one of the things, and the beauty is that we have all of these different tools, all these different materials to use, and so we just have to figure out what works for us. So I like to get a really, really good twist, a really tight bow to make it pop. And so then I will dovetail the ends of my ribbon. Most wreath makers know what that is. It's just folding it together and making a nice V cut, or we call it a dovetail on the ends. And so then here I'm just cutting off the pieces of that top bow to make sure that everything looks really nice and even. Now to add my bow to my wreath, I'm just going to thread those pipe cleaners through the grapevine, and then on the back I twist it really, really good. And then what I usually do is I will put just a little bit of hot glue on there, and then I'll cover it up with a extra leaf or maybe a piece of felt or something like that, just to make sure that it gives that extra stability. And I always make sure that I fluff out my bow, fluff out those tails. That's why I like to use a wired ribbon. Some of this ribbon in here is not wired, but the other wired ribbon on top does make it look very, very nice, so that I make sure and fluff out all of my bow, all of my ribbon poofs and that kind of thing. So then now I'm just taking more pieces of that pine. Now this pine came from Joann's, so then I'm just kind of go around the bow, kind of fill that in. Then I will work on the top. Now I wanted to share with you, this is perfect just like this. It doesn't even need anything on the top. Just put a piece of that binding wire, or put a piece of wire on it, or hang it on a wreath hook. Good to go. But if you're extra like me and you want to decorate the top, this is what I did. I just added different pieces of the greenery from Hobby Lobby and Micheals and that kind of thing, and just added that to the top and just made it look really, really nice. So what I did also is I didn't decorate a sign, make a sign or anything. You could have something that says winter welcome, woodland winter, welcome to our home, anything like that. But I just opted for a raffia bow. I am a country girl at heart and love my raffia. So that's what I did. And then I added a few more branches, those frosty branches, to the side, just kind of bringing it up around the sides of the grapevine. Then I added some more pine and different things to the top. Also had some frosty, icy looking branches from the Dollar Tree, so I added those in there as well. We just have so many different places that we can find fun rustic things. Guys, I absolutely love the way that this turned out, and I'm just so in love with it. I can't wait to hang it on my door. I do have a Christmas wreath on there now, but once that's over, I'm going to hang this up, and it is going to be there through the winter season. So what I did is I added a piece of the binding wire to my raffia bow just at the knot, and then that makes it very easy to tie it on my wreath, and then I don't have to worry about gluing it or anything like that. All right, guys, don't forget this is a wreathathon, so there is a playlist, a link in the description box below so that you can join in the wreathathon hop. Go and see what each of these ladies and gentlemen have created for us today. I am so excited to be part of the wreathathon again. Thank you so much to Nadia for inviting me, and I am an elite company because these wreath makers are rock stars. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate you. Have a Merry Christmas. Until the next video, bye guys.